Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Heart Astrology Podcast. I'm Adriana, joined here with my grandmother, Caitlin. I'm based in the UK and she's based across the ocean in the United States, and we are here connecting together to connect with all of you. So, like we said in our previous video for March, we have so much astrology going on. We couldn't just do one video to fit it all in. So, in this video, we're going to be talking about the partial solar eclipse that is happening the end of this month, and also some of the energies that I'll discuss with Neptune as well. Don't forget, we also have Mercury retrograde still going on, as well as Venus retrograde. I'm going to talk a little bit about that in this one. Was it that you were going to mention, Caitlin?
Mhm.
Perfect. Yeah. So finishing up the month and what we can expect going into April. And we will wrap up the video again with some more tarot and oracle messages to share with all of you. Hi everyone, just doing a quick little insert here to announce our giveaway. It is 1 year for our Heart to Heart Astrology podcast, so we are giving back to you by offering an opportunity to win a mini galactic reading from both myself and Caitlin. Here is how to enter. I'll post all these rules down in the comments below so you can double check, but you need to first make sure that you are subscribed to both myself at Starry Sky Readings and also subscribe to Caitlin at Bhakti Galactic Healing. So both of our YouTube channels to get entered in, and then comment on what you love most about galactic astrology or even with our podcast and what we share. So we want to see what you have to say. And then third thing is, please do email either myself or Caitlin. Our emails will also be in the description below, and make sure you contact us there, because otherwise we're not going to be able to let you know that you won. And we need a way to contact you, of course, if you happen to miss our announcement in our April video. So just want to clarify that it's actually 2 winners will win. So one person will win a mini galactic report with me, and then one with Caitlin. More chances to win here with this giveaway. We're going to check to make sure that you do all 3 of those and email us, so that way we have a place to contact you and to email you your PDF report of your galactic connections. If you are new here, please do check out our individual YouTube channels. I'm Starry Sky Readings. Caitlin is Bhakti Galactic Healing. And Caitlin, for those who are new, do you want to go ahead and give a little introduction?
Sure. I just want to thank everybody that have been subscribing to my channel. I've since the previous videos, the couple that we did on the 12 signs, I gained 40 new subscribers. And since I'm such a small channel, just starting to grow, only been doing this for a year, I guess we've been doing this. I'm excited to have you join my channel. And hopefully I'm going to do some individual videos too. I love doing this with Adriana. I know she's got an individual video coming up too. And that allows us to maybe just zero in more on a specific topic. I've been doing astrology since 2018, but I've been involved in metaphysics pretty much my whole life. My parents were very metaphysical people. I was very blessed. They were way, way ahead of their time, definitely. Also, I'm a Reiki master for 28 years. I so enjoy doing these videos with my beautiful granddaughter.
Oh, I so enjoy doing this with you too. So we're sharing the love here, and I've learned so much from Caitlin, and she's actually the one who got me into divination with oracle cards when I was a kid. So I am a professional intuitive tarot reader. I've been doing it for over 5 years now. But of course, I am very, very much interested in astrology. So I love how astrology just takes things to a whole new level and really gets in depth here. But the cards do kind of bring in those confirmations, especially when I do readings. I do specialize in galactic astrology, as me and Caitlin are both galactic astrology practitioners through Julia Balaz's course, which you can check out on her website. And you can see your very own free galactic astrology chart at galacticastrochart.com. But of course, if you want a more in-depth look into your chart and what it all means, you can contact either Caitlin or myself at our emails, which are going to be down in the description below. So don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're very customizable. So if you don't want like a big long thing, we can do shorter reports. So I'm happy to help really zero in on your questions or whatever you need guidance on.
Okay, should I dive us into this incredible energy?
Is it actually, do you know before you talk about it, if it's visible? I think it's part of the New England area for the United
I
States.
I think so. I don't think it's definitely not visible where we're at. Not like
I
last
think it's
year.
closer to
Everything.
Maine,
Yeah,
maybe.
yes, yes. But yeah, I think it's possibly there. I didn't research that because I knew it wasn't going to be visible here, but it is visible in England. And you say here at,
Maybe.
well, hopefully, yeah, with no
If
clouds,
there's
right?
no clouds, yeah, you never know with England. So,
9:56 a.m. GMT. So,
yes, yes.
well, again, this is a partial solar eclipse, and it begins in the Eastern Daylight Time at 4:50 a.m. and will end at 8:43 a.m. But the maximum eclipse time will happen for the Eastern Daylight Time at 6:47 a.m. And the new moon in Aries is at 6:58 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So a lot of stuff going on in that short space of time. But I was
Mhm.
guided to put in to our galactic chart 6:47 a.m., the maximum eclipse time. And that's, I wanted to look for the most prominent connections with Sun in Aries and the Moon in Aries with that Cazimi. But I have a little story to share because in our last video, I pulled 4 cards from the Galactic Heritage cards from Lissa Rael Holt, which is this right here, and highly recommend this deck, 108 cards. It's amazing. And I was at that time working on our lunar eclipse video, and I got the Zeta Reticuli future card called Enlightenment as my 3rd card when I did the pull. I was guided to pull. I wasn't going to pull it till I got closer to working on this video. Um, and I hadn't worked on it at all. I hadn't even started. But I was like amazed at how in that Cazimi, that tight conjunction, it was in the Alpha Reticulum in the Zeta Reticuli constellation with the Sun and Moon in Aries. Conjunct,
Wow.
both were conjunct. And I was kind of like, wow, how does this happen? So, but let's get into the eclipse itself, the solar eclipse, which to me, again, I just like to refer not only to Aries being, though it is the main part of the eclipse, but I feel Libra is the pole opposite it. So I feel it's a combination. And we've had this combination with 6 eclipses. Um, so it's the eclipse itself can affect us from like around 6 months, even maybe further for some. So say, the actual date of this one is going to be March 29th, 2025. So 6 months from now would put us out around September 29th. So of this year. So make your plans accordingly. The eclipse in the zodiac sign of Aries may relate to your personal plans, decision-making power, and abilities for self-assertion and self-care coming into powerful focus. So remember, with the polarity axis of the zodiac sign of Libra, there may be influences regarding any of these possibilities for new beginnings while simultaneously making final decisions. Libra must weigh and balance every decision, and this puts the brakes on the fiery Aries. But that's a smart thing because with the long-term decisions, it's important to consider things before you jump into the fire. Aries will have you just jump into the fire. So we need Libra to say, wait a minute, what are we jumping into? What is the best fire to jump into, so to speak? So I feel that is important to remember when you're considering this eclipse. Just a bit about the new moon, which is in Aries, and it's at 9 degrees and 0 minutes. And I'm going to pull up a chart. I'm going to do my best here. This is a chart from Cafe Astrology. What I love about this chart is there's no lines. So you can really see all of these alignments more clearly. This was very helpful to me. I'd like to talk a little bit about a similar solar eclipse that happened in the same degree of Aries, which occurred on March 29th of 2006. And before that, it was March 29th of 1987. So 87 was a very powerful year. Harmonic convergence started in 87. Very powerful points. People waking up. I could not believe that year. And just the movement to be awake was phenomenal. I don't know why we're not as a why didn't that work and keep us going more? But it was a very awake year. Um, so, but an eclipse set along the Aries Libra axis most recently occurred from 2013 to 2016. So before that, it was from 2004 to 2006. So note that this eclipse is opposite the October 2024 eclipse in Libra with an orb of just over 1 degree. So the March 29th Aries solar eclipse that we're having right now may bring to light any of our challenges with asserting our authentic self, our pioneering spirit, and decision-making power. And that's from back all the way back from 1987. I want you to look at that because these are all interrelated, these 6 eclipses. Okay. That's why I shared that. Um, so this eclipse may call you to learn powerful spiritual techniques toward self-mastery and wonderful ways to empower your decisions by directly facing your greatest fears. The universe invariably brings to each of us what will help us spiritually grow and expand our wings of love to embrace changes and endings, which may manifest ultimately to understand what is the best possible path for our own growth. So let's take a peek at this chart that I brought up over here. And this is the new moon in Aries with that 9 degrees solar eclipse for 20 March 29th at 6:58 a.m. That's Eastern Daylight Time. So let's see, there's our moon right there in Aries. This is something I talked about in the previous video. If you want to know where it is in your personal chart, you'd need to contact us or go on to a site where you could look at where it is. These things are aligning in your personal house. So be aware of that. We're just looking right now at the collective of it, which does not include the houses, but includes the signs. That's why there's no lines in this chart. But look at how we've got Neptune in Pisces, uh, and we also have Mercury in Aries as well. I missed that, sorry. And then we've got 28 degrees of Venus in retrograde. We've got the North Node in Pisces, and that was Pisces for Venus, and it switched around the 27th. So it's just going, it's still even in those ending degrees. It's just hitting into Pisces. And then Saturn is in Pisces. So look at this combination here. It's very important. And then how over here we got Cancer in Mars still going on until April 18th. But then we got our Jupiter in Gemini still, and then we have our Taurus in Uranus. So up here, Pluto in Aquarius. So I want you to look at the shape of this. This is why I wanted to bring it up. This half of the chart has so much to do with the self with a capital S regarding the collective. Okay. And then this half of the chart has a lot to do with self-identity. So here we go with Aries, self-identity. Pisces would be more of the collective. And then how these, as you look at these aspect connections, how they are going to impact. So these are the kind of things that Adriana and I can do for you personally to show you how these connect, how they individually affect you as well. So that's all I wanted to share. I'll stop the share and turn it over to you, Adriana.
I just wanted to make a little comment on that too, on that chart. Everything was in the later degrees or in the earlier degrees of Pisces there. So I feel like that kind of ties into our last video when we talked about endings of cycles and coming into new ones. So as we go towards the end of March, we are really, even though, yes, we are obviously starting a new month, we're starting springtime, but we really are collectively going into this new chapter and this new cycle for all of us on a energetic spiritual level. So it's really cool to see that reflected in the astrology as well.
Yes, it is.
It's this transitional period, as we talked about, that we are all in. So it's just kind of writing it out and keeping ourselves as grounded as possible, but also checking into our emotions and taking good care of ourselves, of course, through this. So not letting too much of the crazy energies affect you. It's a lot of these planets moving into fiery Aries. I noticed too in your chart, something that I'm also going to talk about is that there was a square to Uranus to the new moon. So Uranus is conjunct, and then I'll talk about Neptune after this, but Uranus is conjunct a malefic fixed star called Algol. Now, I've had a video that I did last year on Algol. If you would like, you can go back to my channel and watch that again because a lot of what I'm going to say will kind of apply to this. And I also talk about the mythology of Algol in that video. So she is represented, the star is represented as the Medusa head, and it's a little bit different from the video from last year with the astrology because it was a conjunction, but this time it's making a sextile to Mars on this day of this partial eclipse. So it feels very heated with that. So it is, again, it's a malefic star. So I suggest for everyone to take extra care in spiritual and psychic protection. Try to avoid any sort of evil eyes, so to speak. We are in Mercury retrograde, so there can be things like that, arguments and miscommunications and things of that nature happening. So that can kind of be amplified a little bit more. So just try to keep that in mind and be aware. People can be more prone to act out more boldly and even speaking more boldly at this time too. So be careful with what you say as well too, because words have power, don't they? So just keep that in mind for yourself as well. And it does align with my tarot cards, but before I share my cards, I do want to also just briefly talk about Neptune. So Neptune is in Pisces at 29 degrees, which we saw in that chart. It's getting ready to move into its new sign of Aries for the next 14 years. Okay, so this is a really, yeah, very a long-term commitment here. So it was very, very comfortable in Pisces because Pisces ruling planet is Neptune. So now it's going into the complete opposite element here with fiery Aries here. This will happen on March 30th, so the day after this partial solar eclipse. So the last time Neptune was in Aries was during 1861 to 1875. And, you could look up the history of that with what's happened. And I'm not saying, of course, that any wars are going to happen with that, but it has that warrior element with it, of course, with Aries, being the god of war. So yes, there can be more combative things of that nature, but hopefully with the Neptunian energy and everything else that we're seeing with the astrology, it's bringing in, I feel, more of a healing to those polarities that have been happening that we've been seeing.
Hmm.
So Aries being the first sign of the 12 zodiac signs marks new beginnings and representative of new life, just like springtime, which is where it occurs for most of us, or well, some of us, depending on which hemisphere, of course, you live in. I feel Neptune's uncomfortable shift into the fire sign of Aries is like a wake-up call. It's a wake-up call of light coming in. I talked about this in the last video. There is throughout March, I think the big theme is just like light coming through to illuminate illusions. That's the Pisces Neptune energy. Illuminate those illusions and really ask yourself, okay, what have I learned from this? What is it that I'm really seeing here? And kind of have that self-reflection with these things. So shedding a light on illusions or anything that's been kept hidden during Neptune's time in Pisces. And it started in 2011. So, it could be, of course, on a personal level, your own things that you've maybe discovered, self-discovery within yourself, as well as, of course, what we see through the government. And again, that ties into Pluto going into now Aquarius as well, bringing these changes and revolutionary type changes as well to our structures. necessary changes, and change is inevitable here. So, actually, before I go to the tarot cards, did you want to add anything to that, Caitlin, or discuss anything?
I didn't do the research here. I'm so glad you did. I didn't know about this 1861 to 1875. That's kind of wow. I'm going to have to look at
Yes.
it more, which was a very liberating time ultimately. So this
Hmm.
is more hopeful. And I like that. And as you speak revolution, but it's also, I feel it's um, an evolutionary revolution as
I
we
like that.
evolutionary revolution. I feel the
Hmm.
is more to do with many of us coming together, grouping communities, grassroots, supporting another. If one is having a problem, we come together as a group, and I'll talk about that when I get to my cards too. And that happened during that time. There was groups helping others, definitely. So I just this is kind of like wow. I'm gonna have to research this as well.
Glad I found that too. I thought that was worth
Mhm.
mentioning with this energy that's happening because, like I said, there's just so much going on for March. So there's a lot of change happening, and I think a lot of us we have to be careful to not get too swept up in the emotional or even just the flurry of it all. It's just can be a lot, and it's really important for us to still, kind of stay in our bodies, and we could still work towards change, of course, but don't put too much pressure on yourself, and don't get too swept up in the current, so to speak, of all
Oh,
of this. So here's my card. So I posed the question and it really connected, what I was seeing with the astrology, it really connected well with these cards. So I was happy to see that here. What can we expect? That was my question. What can we expect with all of this going on the 29th and 30th here with the eclipse and with this Neptune shift here? So
mhm.
first one I had is Five of Cups. Five of Cups here. Also, what came out was the Emperor. This is Aries. Aries is here. The Emperor represents the zodiac sign of Aries. And my third card is the Five of Wands. Five of Cups. This is
Okay.
about things that did not work out. We're focused, and this is what I was kind of saying just a bit ago, is not to get too caught up in the things, the disappointments and what didn't work out on the emotional level here, because we're missing out on the opportunity that's behind us here. There's Two of Cups behind us, two having to do with partnership, um, finding a sense of balance here.
Mhm.
Okay, so to not get too focused on that, where we miss out on the blessing that's actually here for us. And the Emperor here, like I said, Aries energy is coming in. And with the Five of Wands here, yes, there's always positive and negatives, right? With astrology. But yes, this can be arguments, of course, because we have Mercury retrograde happening. So just being aware of this, it feels very external. It just feels, we're seeing it, right, in the world. There's just all this external conflict happening. Of course, it is impacting people on an emotional level, of course, too, and affecting people's lives. So it's kind of going back to what you were saying in the previous video, I feel, Caitlin, of being observant and taking a step back and really
Mhm.
being aware and observing, okay, what is happening here? And do I need to be part of this conflict, or is there a better solution to the conflict without being directly involved, with the back and forth? It feels like it just feels like the one side and the other side always just coming at each other. So taking a step back from that and, seeing
I'd like to
that
add,
resolution that is
add,
behind you here.
I'd like to add a little something because I think what you're describing is the Mercury and the Venus because they're both retrograde. Okay.
Yes, Venus
When you
too.
mentioned partnership and all that. And so when we think of within ourselves, Mercury runs our minds, the talk. Okay. Venus runs heart, our love, and the walk. So the bringing them together is, can we walk our talk? Can we walk?
Exactly.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, especially with that, the Aries energy. Yeah, because that's all action, actually doing something. Yeah, getting things done. Feels very Venus too, the bottom of the deck. We have
Mhm.
the beautiful Ten of Cups. So again, this is the blessing that is here behind you. As you see in this card, this person here, there's a blessing here from this situation, from the conflict. There is a blessing here. There is solution here for a beautiful sense of fulfillment and peace, harmony. It's like the happily ever after card, in a fairy tale world, right? But this represents the big picture, thinking big picture about things,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
unity
And
within our collective. And oh, did you want to add something?
just,
Sorry.
yeah, because I'm just seeing the correlation of the 10, because the 10 of cups, when our last video, I'm pretty sure we'll have to check me on this, fact check me. But I think Venus st in Aries started the retrograde at 10 degrees of Aries, because the new moon was in 9 degrees. And so I think it
I
was
think that's, yeah.
10 Aries was where it started, the retrograde.
Hmm,
So the 10 of Cups, just that 10 coming in of where this, when you brought up how
interesting.
the card associates with Venus.
With the 10 too, with this card here, the 10 of Cups, it relates to the planet of Saturn. So structure, stability, new beginnings, and a completion of a cycle here.
Yes.
So, and to also, I'll wrap up my part about the tarot cards here because I just felt like this was so cool with the numerology here. With the fives are associated, here we go, with Mercury
Hmm.
and of course communication. So these cards, directly as you pointed out as well, relating to Mercury retrograde and with the Emperor is a number four, is associated with Uranus, which I just spoke about too, with that alignment, Uranus to algal. So leadership coming through here, and even some rebelliousness, but ultimately, like I said, thinking big picture here and creating more stability and a completion here. What
Hmm.
is the best outcome for all? Thinking collectively, very Aquarian. What is the
Yeah.
best outcome for all in this situation? All parties here finding harmony.
Yes, I love that. That's beautiful. I also have two cards that I received. And it's again from Lissa Royal Holt's Galactic Heritage Cards. I had this from our previous video, and I actually pulled these cards during the time of doing our first video. And so let me pull up the first one, which is number 97, and it is called Enlightenment, and it is the Zeta Reticuli Future card. So this card is very much about living a paradox, which means in this case to understand our emotions and at the same time rising above them. So it's that combination going on there. Um, so to make a long-term powerful decision, feel into it largely with, say, Jupiter energies, and then invoke Saturn to bring in the reality of the decision. When these two planets work together in harmony, big things get done. So big things get done. That's the energy I feel here, really strong. Um, the Zeta were able to learn how to do this and evolve from extreme polarizing pain, so very separate, realizing the truth that according to Lissa Royal Holt's channeling, this is a quote from her book, separation is an illusion, and that their true state is as a unified consciousness that spans all creation. So I feel this describes self-realization, which is the path of enlightenment. So our human collective is on a similar path right now. I love combining the techniques of ancient wisdom and philosophy with the wisdom of our galactic heritage. And here we are on center stage, living out the stories in our human experience. Lissa Royal Holt also channeled that the human experience of separation is but one part of who you are. And by embracing all aspects, as the Zetas eventually did, and they did this without attaching to any aspect, you individually and humanity collectively can now move into an enlightened state of consciousness. So I'd like to talk just a little bit about that before I go to the second card. And I feel it is just so important that we don't lose connection to the ancient techniques and wisdom. So meditation, breath work, eating healthy, being in nature. These are all part of living in this world and celebrating being a human. We would you believe this? But we fought to get into these bodies. Everybody wanted to be able to be here for this huge shift that is going to be happening. And so many people are so in their minds and so into the internet and these devices that they're going to miss it. You don't want to miss it. You have to be in body fully to feel it. That's part of self-realization. Um, so I feel that's super important, but then also educating ourselves about our galactic heritage. And, what are the Zetas about? There's a wonderful channeler who's been doing it for 40, 50 years. I don't even know how long it's been, but his name is the channel is, well, it's Daryl Anka is the human's name, but he channels Bashar. And I think a lot of people know of this channel. And he is so accurate and he's done it so long. He's a very viable channel. There's very few viable channels. And but he would be one to really, he talks about the Essassani and how who he is channeling. Bashar is the much higher elevated version and of the Zetas. So I would just suggest listening to some, and he has some latest videos that have come out that are excellent, really excellent. And basically he's saying a lot what I just said to you. And we still, to evolve, we need to have self-realization because there's really only one of us here. And this continuous shadow boxing with ourselves on the cave wall, the shadow on the cave wall that we still are doing is really fruitless. And it just keeps us on that hamster wheel I spoke of in the last video. We just keep repeating the same patterns. So we have an opportunity for a true evolution. And at some point, as Bashar has revealed, and I've believed my whole life, the and to me, the higher frequency aliens, that they're only good. There is no such thing as a bad alien. If there's a lower frequency, then it would be an alien that is somehow connected through the earth, through actually underground parts of the earth where they have not evolved and they're stuck in 4D. But the aliens who would appear would be 5D and above. And so let's get rid of this fear. It's time to let them come in and guide us to fix a lot of stuff that needs to be fixed. And Bashar did mention that uh, they, the Galactic Federation, and they're all committed to not allowing this Earth to be destroyed. There's no reason to destroy this Earth. This is a beautiful learning school. Okay, why should we get rid of it? It's not necessary. Okay, so there's a lot of fear around there, but it's not going anywhere. The Earth herself. We may go somewhere, okay, because the world living on the Earth is pretty messed up, okay, and we've had this happen with previous civilizations, Lemuria, Atlantis, etc. So that could happen, yes, but the Earth is going nowhere. That's what I truly believe. So let me get into the second card, which I think will kind of explain this a little bit more.
Could I
And
just
this,
add something? Really, that card coming through is perfectly, like you
oh,
said in the beginning of this video. So just reiterating that that
it's
came
super
out
important.
perfectly aligned with what we're seeing in the astrology. So
Yeah,
that's really, really
yeah,
cool to see.
yeah. And
Hmm.
that came out when I was writing the first video, which I thought was interesting. And I didn't even know what the alignments were yet. So I was a little surprised, I must admit. The second card is number 95. And this is way showing from Sirius. And it's also a future card. So what's blowing me away also is out of all four cards, every single one of them is the future cards. So it feels like our future selves are trying to get a message across. And this card says it all. Lizarel Holt channels that the Syrians were conflicted about being leaders or staying hidden. They saw this as an either or situation. So, through their evolutionary path, they learned that true leaders lead from their heart without ego desire. They truly lead from what is for the highest good of all and from a clear sense, this is a quote, a clear sense of inner direction, which is aligned with universal consciousness. This is an ancient karmic pattern coming up to surface for humanity right now collectively on Earth. And Egyptian lifetimes come to mind, for they were linked to Sirius and the Anunnaki. This is a huge choice for humanity. So, do you choose to be led or to lead? If you choose to be led, then you are giving away your power to the old paradigm of kings and queens holding all the power and the return of serfdom. Okay, serfdom. Everybody out there, you know, waving their swords and this and that, or their shovels, and it's like, are we going to return to that and have all this anger? Did it get us anywhere? No, we're still living it out in a different way, but it's still here. It is on the world stage right now. So, what if the lesson here is to step into your own power, to be a leader, not a leader that singularly controls, but rather a leader who can work alongside multitudes of leaders together, showing the way of cooperation, responsibility, and integrity. Lissa Royal Holt channels from the Syrians. This is a quote. Every being is a leader and teacher for others. And as we all embrace this role, we also have to embrace the responsibilities that come with that role: integrity, impeccability, responsibility, and authenticity, which totally remind me of the four agreements. Not in the exact order, but it's all there from Don Miguel Ruiz. The four agreements, the only ones that matter. So you can see the importance of this solar eclipse in Aries and the Libra polarity to blend the highest qualities of both poles and to be a balanced leader of harmony in your life. And bottom line, it all begins with you.
Very powerful, beautifully said. And it just called back to that very last thing about harmony to my last card of the Ten of Cups. So bringing in that with
Yeah.
integrity.
Yes.
What was the other one? Integrity.
Okay. Impeccability is the first agreement. Be impeccable with your word. Responsibility would be the second agreement. Um, don't take things personally. You take it, be responsible. Okay. Authenticity. Okay. I think authenticity, would that be the third? Don't make assumptions, be authentic with what
Mhm.
you're going to do. And
True to
then,
yourself.
yeah, true to yourself. And then integrity leads us to the fourth, which is to be the best you can be. You see it there? It didn't come in quite that order, but
Yeah.
there it is.
Yeah, that's
So,
perfect.
yeah.
Mm.
And I pulled one more card that I'd love to share, unless you have something else you'd want to share, Adri.
No, please. I'm excited to see your
Yeah.
other card
This
here.
this is a new deck, which I will probably pull more from in our next video. Got it? Here we go.
Yeah.
Beyond Lemuria. And this is a deck of oracle cards from Izzy Ivy. It is just gorgeous. Just like Lissa Holt, she has a huge, looks like close to 150 pages here. With Adri Live with Between Us, I just pulled it out and I mixed my cards and I got the first card of the deck. Is that good?
Yes, beautiful.
Okay. Earth Star Chakra, initiation, oneness, collective consciousness, anchoring transmissions from the higher realms, sacred earth knowledge, integration of the divine, working with the grid lines. So I'm reading just directly from Izzy Ivy's book. You are standing at a gateway into the unknown with trust in your heart, ancient remembering in your soul, and inner illumination to light the way. You have access to the seat of creation, the spark of existence, and the codes that hold the blueprints of who and what we are. This place is clear and grounded, despite moving through multidimensional realms and able to bridge worlds while functioning in physical reality. The higher you reach for the divine and the realms of spirit, the more important it is to anchor deeply to the earth. And that takes us back to our previous video, to this previous one, the one in February. Anchor the highest timeline. And I've been using, Enzo and I are using this mantra. I am anchoring, activating, awakening, accepting, and appreciating the highest timeline right now. And we use this as we go across the day. We come back to this very simple mantra affirmation, and I
Mhm.
will promise to include it in my video in the details. And I just think it's super important to realize that's our power right there. We have to call out for it. Our lower self calling out to our highest self. Nothing will be just given to us. Nothing will be forced upon us. That's violation of free will. We have to ask for it. Okay. So asking for that highest timeline. If enough of us do that collectively, watch out. Things are going to happen a lot sooner than later. When we choose love, it automatically takes us to whatever situation we are in. How is my choice going to affect everybody else? And that's just part of what highly evolved beings do from these galactic star realms that we love to study. That's what they evolved to. The Zeta Reticuli, the Sirian beings, and even the Orion beings, as we talked about in the previous video.
Things are balancing out with that Libra energy and moving us into illuminating things here. Light's coming in with that Aries fire. So that's what I
Yes,
feel. Hmm.
yes. And then, of course, the Pisces Virgo polarity as well. So we've got
Yes. Hmm.
very interesting, as you've said all along in both videos, about the completion and the new beginning. It's a
Yeah.
simultaneous thing. And I really
Hmm.
believe we are being initiated as this card. That's why it kind of surprised me. In Earth is being initiated into the Galactic Federation. It's going to happen. Bashar talks about this as well. When will it happen? That's another story. But there's no way to predict a date because the universe doesn't know what time it is. Okay, so our lower self wants to know the date. Our Virgo self says, I got to know the date. But Pisces is like, whenever. But
And we
it's
have free will, so it can always
yeah.
change and
It's
moves
very
around.
exciting because we are going to be part of that cosmic energy. We are graduating. We are going into initiation. This is huge, and this is going to take time. I don't like again. It's not going to be like that. We're going to go from one age. I mentioned I talk about this in the previous video. We're going from Kali Yuga, which, according to my teacher's lineage, Paramahansa Yogananda's teacher, Sri Yukteswar, was a master astrologer, and he has a book called Holy Science, which is absolutely amazing. And there was other correlative master astrologers that their schools of astrology, so to speak, said that in 1899, that is when Kali Yuga would end. And then we have a transitory time, which takes several hundred years. And so uh, they talk about March 2025. We are in March 2025 right now, that is the start of that Dwapara Yuga, which is the golden age. Now, are we automatically in the golden age? This will take a transitory time as well, which will
Yes.
correlate with Pluto
Hmm.
and Aquarius. As Rick Levine always says, it's still 100 years away to be fully in that. So this is all going to correlate. Nobody here on Earth right now will be presently in this physical body, and this lower self combination will know it. Okay. But if we return, okay, and we will, so many people will, many, I don't want to use the word people, I'm sorry, souls will, but many will go on and into other humanoid elevating experiences in other realms. So
Yeah,
it will,
many different realms.
we really don't know. There's a graduation because there's many levels of school here, many levels, so many going on at once. Wait, and we're all simultaneously experiencing it with different degrees. And your astrology shows that. A lot of the first degrees in that part of our houses, 1 through 10, is more of beginning something, a stage of something. And it's very, again, our chart is very multidimensional. So in one area, we may be beginning something. And then we look at another area, and boy, we've got 28, 29. We're in that anaretic degree. And we are master teachers in that moment with that energy. You get into, 3, 4, 5, and that area, we'll be learning something maybe we've never learned before. Our soul is learning something new.
Yeah, I just wanted to say too, it's not easy to, for most people, I guess, to choose to incarnate into our realm here on Earth, this current timeline that is.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
and
Yes.
this, yeah, current reality, because yeah, it's really, we're putting in the work here. It's the physical work of it, but it's also affecting of course, the spiritual level of that as well and the higher dimensions. So, I want to call back though to what you said, Caitlin, about the Galactic Federation, because not everyone maybe knows what that is. Could you just explain a little bit more of what that is and why you
But
feel that
I don't
Earth
think that
might be
I don't think that's its name, but it's something we kind of
that
metaphysically
we
collect.
give it? Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, but it's councils,
Mhm.
and there's different varying councils. Many of us astral travel. We have other experiences while we're sleeping. Those of you do it, you know exactly what I'm
Sure.
talking about. We go through portals, and we go into them, and we come back out through them. There's a specific portal travel I've been doing that correlates very much with Orion. That's why when I share some of this, I feel we are, as those cards came in, it was blowing me away. It was a message to me personally because it's showing me how we are in that end game. Okay, to something. Okay, something's going to end and then something's going to start. Again, it's always when. Is it when Betelgeuse explodes? We know that's a possibility, but is that hundreds of years from now or is it tomorrow? And when that happens, we will be flooded with light. It won't flood us where I don't think it's going to destroy anything, but our nighttime will look more like daytime. That's what many people are talking about. This is not just this is astronomy stuff as well. You could look into astronomical sites and find this information.
Hmm.
Actually, I heard it from Robert Edward Grant, who a lot of us follow in our galactic group. But anyway, so the councils are, when I'm at meetings and things, I have very strong awareness of one of the things that's discussed the most and is violation of free will. That is the ultimate divine uh, travesty that gets addressed. Again, when we come into these denser 3D, it takes time. So what could already be done in Orion and these higher frequencies or wherever, the Pleiades or wherever, I travel quite a bit and work a lot with the Andromedan Council. And so it could happen within nanoseconds or not even, it's so fast. Okay, so but here, how long does it take to get here in the denser forms? I have no idea.
Yeah, I just wanted to, for those that might be watching that
Yeah,
maybe never heard of what that means, so just to give it some more
yeah,
context.
yeah.
And obviously,
And it's
there's lots
really,
of different channelers that channel that information. So, do your own research and,
yeah.
find your own conclusions with that, of course. So,
Yeah, and any of these names, the names of the stars, it's all we as humans, we don't know what the actual names are. We don't know the
oh
actual planet.
yeah,
We don't know any of
mhm,
this, all from
definitely,
our
yeah.
human perspective. Well, a lot of people don't know that or understand that either.
Hmm.
So, Galactic Federation, is that stolen from Star Trek or something? Or I
Right.
probably, or did Star Trek steal it from that? But we know there are planetary beings. We feel them and sense them. They're living beings. So we know that. It's those of
Hmm.
us who are ultra sensitive with the clairs. We can experience that, and then we know it for ourselves. We maybe can't prove it to others. And then
Yeah,
just like
other realms around
yeah,
us.
I
Yeah,
know,
and
I know
beyond.
where I'm traveling because I come awake partially with my connection to my lower self now in these experiences, especially when it's highly charged situations. Am I physically there? Of course not. It's only my astral field. But as I'm returning, I'm able to download that information as I come back through the portal. So I bet a lot of you are doing it. Maybe hopefully I'm describing this for some reason that will help you to understand what's happening. When you come back sometimes, or when you leave your body, you may feel catatonic. You may feel this like you can't move your body feeling. And a lot of people get frightened. They think, am I being psychically attacked? No, it's probably you're astral traveling, returning, or leaving. And then the first time I
The
experienced
sleep paralysis.
Incorrect. That's a catatonic state, is what it's called. So I will see when I see it initially. I don't have to see this part anymore because it's just a different way that I travel. But initially, when it happened many many moons ago, back in the 80s or 90s, it was like this whirling, twirling white light that I would experience, and it would be like, I hear this actual sound of my astral body. And I feel that we are so much more finely vibrating now. We're at a different frequency than we were then. Everything was so much more dense. And but yeah, I would experience those things, and I was really asking my flesh and blood guru at the time, like, what is happening? This is scaring me. What is this? And then I started understanding, and then I started exploring. I read was it Robert Moody or Robert Monroe? It might have been Robert Monroe's book about how to leave your body. And then I started to be able to consciously leave my body. And that's something that's fascinating to do. And you can train yourself. So there's so much to learn and so much wonderful things out there. And I think the more we put our focus there, we will anchor the highest timeline. And I really suggest thinking that, especially when you get frightened, when you start entering the fear reality, pop yourself out of that with good
The
affirmation.
best, yeah, I was gonna say the best thing for that, whether it's, you're experiencing fear or if you're having some sort of sleep paralysis, because this is my own experience when I was going through my kind
Mhm.
of dark night of the soul journey. This could be a whole other topic for a different video, but if you experience that where you feel kind of stuck in this different dimension of, while you're lucid dreaming. And if you feel any sort of fear, laughter, funny enough, is the best way to get out of that. And that includes sleep paralysis as well. So if you find yourself, with your eyes open, but you're not quite here and you can't move, um, relax into it. You will come back. So you have to just rest and let yourself fall back into it in order to come out of it. So
Yeah.
that's been the best thing. So I just wanted to quickly say that
Okay.
just to give some
Yeah.
advice if
That's great
anyone
advice.
does
Yeah.
experience that.
Blinking is a way too, because when we come back, it like just forcing ourselves to blink.
Mhm.
It'll just pop. It'll just be like you'll be back.
Yeah,
Um,
close your eyes and go back
yes,
into your
blink.
dream state. Then you'll wake up again. Mm.
And then also, like what's interesting when we're in that half astral, half physical, transitory state, you might see unusual things around you. I've had
Yes.
like even just silly things like the first time I came awake to one of these was actually I was 16 and I was at my Aunt Evelyn's in Oklahoma and I saw a paper bag next to me. My aunt was highly intuitive. So I was sleeping in her house for the first time. Oh my God, was it astral everywhere? And especially with a family member that's super psychic. So, but I saw this paper bag, and then as soon as I blink, it disappeared. And I saw it in my physical body. And so, of course, I talked to her, and she gave me so much wisdom. It's wonderful if you have a family member who is also carries the clairs and has psychic abilities to talk to that family member to help you as well.
And be careful if you are, trying to learn that, of course. So make sure you do practice some sort of protection, of course, because
Oh,
there,
oh, yes.
there's good and bad. So I will say with that.
Well,
So,
that could be the ghosts are they're just they just are souls that have not crossed over into the light yet. And they just need help going to the light. And if you have a high light vibration, they think you're the light. I've had this people
mm,
souls coming to me for years, and I learned how to send them to the light. It's easy as just go to the light, direct them and just tell them I am not the light. I can help you though access the light. That's for ones that are, but otherwise you can just command them to leave. They have, again, honoring free will,
hmm. Yeah, you have the power, definitely.
have the power. That was in The Wizard of Oz. You have the power. Click those heels.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, click your heels, come back to Kansas. If anybody does encounter anything that's maybe more negative or yeah, because there are some, yeah,
Yeah.
things out there that I've experienced personally. So best thing to do is yes, you have the power here. So I just want to make sure people know
Yeah.
way to protect yourself is to laugh and not take it seriously and let yourself actually fall back into your body.
But if,
Um, and
there's
don't let
no
the fear take you because that's what they're looking for. If you do, like I said, encounter anything like that.
yeah, black magic and all that can only work is through your fear. You give your power away to whomever or
Yeah,
whatever. But these
don't be
beings,
fearful. Yeah.
yeah, they're so trapped, Adrian, 4D. They don't have the capacity for much other than our fears giving them the fuel, taking
Exactly. Yeah.
to fuel it. So good point. Yeah, I take for granted. My husband and I, we put our colors on every day. We practice wonderful techniques to protect our energy field all the time. And one of the most powerful ones that I found is this silver mercury color. And you can't be in it for a long time, but it is amazing. And we'll put it over all of our other divine colors. And it's kind of like it's crazy, but from that movie Terminator 3 is where I saw it for the first time. It's a liquidy silver thing that came around this being. I think he came in and out or something. But I'll tell you that liquidy like mercury, the color of mercury in a thermometer, wow, it nothing gets through it. And so if you're in it for a long time, you start getting drained and you feel the heaviness of it. And as soon as you take it off and cleanse it, you're like, whoa, okay. And we've learned just by like, oh, did we take that off? Because we'll go into certain situations and we're like, oh, I think we need the silver mercury. So yeah, there are
Putting your spiritual armor on. Yeah.
yes. Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly. So it's kind of like Teflon. So it hits it and it just slides down. And or it's a mirror back to the one sending the evil eye or the bad juju, whatever you want to call it.
Hmm.
Okay. And
Yeah.
again, there's no power to it unless you fear it. I had a huge lesson on that eons ago. And I'll tell you, it's as soon as you drop the fear, that's your ultimate protection, is opening and enacting love. That's just it. Just be love.
Hmm.
Choose love. Where is the love? Right there.
Yeah. Be in that state.
Oh, we had a great little
Yeah, this was
conversation.
a great video. Good discussion that we got to have too. So So hope that you all enjoyed what we shared today, and comment down below if you have anything to share with us too, whether about the astrology or what we've just spoke on, any of your experiences with that and how you're feeling during all these crazy energies happening right now. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much for watching this, and please stay tuned for our next video in April. We'll see you then.
Thank you. Namaste.